conversation with ex-National Guard and longtime friend of mine, Caeleb Knippenberg. Caeleb takes us through his experience, what it was like going through basic training in his 4 years in the military. He also explains mental health struggles amongst men and why COVID was such a big impact when it comes to that. Ladies and gentlemen, here's Caeleb Knippenberg. All right, guys, welcome back to the Kacee Outdoor Podcast. Today on the show, we're going to have Caeleb Knippenberg, a longtime friend, ex-military, and just a really good guy in general. So,
hello everybody, how you doing? My name's Caeleb. I'm sure a lot of you that watch probably know that. Some of you probably don't, but yes, I was in the Army for 4 years, and now I'm just living my life, making money, doing what I do.
Yep. So I want to start off with what actually got you to join the military? Because obviously we went to high school together. We got a lot of chemistry here, a lot of long time friendship. So what motivated you to join the armed services right after high school?
I wouldn't say it was necessarily right after high school. It was more of, I think I joined a year after high school, to be exact.
That's right, yeah, it wasn't right after.
But I feel like that I was struggling a lot. I didn't know what to do with my life or anything, so I just said fuck it, and I joined the Army, and that was it. And it was the best decision of my life, probably.
So when you first joined, obviously you had to go to basic training. Like, what was, because like those of you who don't know, like basic training is like a 10-week period for every soldier that has to go through. That's like it's almost like a test stage to start with. Like you have to go through this training of no phones, no outside contact. It's like almost like prison in a sense. So like, what was your experience like with that?
Well, my basic training was more of like 12 weeks because COVID hit. And
Okay, 12
I went
weeks.
during COVID, so the first like 2 weeks we're literally stuck inside of our barracks, like a room, and you're with like 25 other dudes that you don't know. Just out the gate, no phone, no TV, no internet, no nothing. There's no outside contact whatsoever. So it's just you and your head and these 25 other dudes just sitting in there. Right?
So did it like force you guys to like obviously talk and like network and stuff?
Yeah, it forced us to probably do something we've never really done before because we've all had phones and internet and TikTok and Instagram and Twitter our whole lives. So it really made me sit down. I met some very good people and had some very deep conversations with some dudes. It was great. It was a great experience. But leading up to that point, the first couple weeks was definitely a strong mental game. Because there's just a lot of ups and downs. You know, I miss home, of course, because who wants to leave home for that long a period?
And where were you stationed at, actually, to get perspective here?
Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri.
Okay, so Missouri.
So, yeah, I flew to Missouri, got on a bus, went straight to basic, and it was straight getting yelled at right out the gate. And, you know, you don't really expect to experience that. And when I say it felt like a movie, when I first got there, it felt like a movie. Like, you're like, holy shit, I'm actually here. I'm doing this. You got dudes screaming in your ear left and right, telling you to do this, do that. You make one little mistake as to look away, they scream at you. So it's just strong mental game. But I feel like it made me the person I am today, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and that's really interesting. So like your time there, did you experience any hardships? Like just throughout the 10 weeks, like what was like the hardest thing? Like obviously you said like being away from home, but like was it like, because one of the things I actually heard is pretty interesting on an Andrew Tate podcast, not to change the subject, but he actually said, because he was also in jail for 90 days in a prison, and he said when you actually take social media away from your brain for like that amount of time, like it almost gives you like some sort of clarity that like, you know, I guess, I mean, I've never experienced that, so like what was it like for you? Do you have some sort of clarity when you didn't use social media for a certain amount of time, or like use your phone? Or do you think better maybe?
I definitely did. At first it was kind of like, made me feel like real down by myself, and then when I finally realized that like you don't need social media or your phone in your life, it definitely made me a lot stronger, made me realize a lot more things because I didn't have my phone in my face all the time. So yeah, it definitely made me think a lot of, I wouldn't say more of like to the other guys, but like just you thinking to yourself sitting in that room for weeks on weeks just thinking about life in general. So,
would you compare it to something like jail or something similar to that?
Definitely. It's definitely jail. You're definitely signing yourself up for prison for 10 weeks. So,
is it something that you would recommend like anyone to go through, I guess, or anyone like out of high school? Or like what's your perspective on that? Like who like the younger kids out there watching this, like what would you say to them that they're thinking about joining the military?
Honestly, yes, I would say to do it. Because especially if you're struggling right out of high school, you don't know what you want to do with your life, I would say definitely do it because it'll make you basically what they do is they literally drag you down and make you feel like shit just to build you back up again. So when I left when I left Kentucky for basic and I came back, I was a completely different person. So, and I feel like that was for a good thing, that I changed the way I did, and it made me a way better person.
So do you feel like you're more disciplined, or like what in ways, like what did you feel that was different when you came back?
I didn't say I
after
was
training?
more disciplined. I was more like, yeah, I was definitely more disciplined actually. Yeah, I definitely realized what life is when I was gone, and not to sit around and stress about all these small things, because there really is more to life than your everyday life of what you do. So
do you
like
you said, like when you first graduated, obviously you didn't go in, like you experienced like a lack of purpose, like you weren't really sure what you wanted to do with your life, like
exactly, because I didn't want to go to college.
Exactly,
I didn't want to
yeah.
do any of that.
Mhm.
So I just sat around for days and weeks, and the COVID hit, so that was a big factor of everybody
Oh, yeah.
sitting at home. So
And that really messed up a lot of people. I
Yeah.
mean, we've seen,
it definitely messed me up, and I don't know, it just made me feel like I was a whole different person. I was different than what I was. I felt like I was like actually here for a reason, meant to be here. I was definitely I don't know. It's hard to explain unless you've gone through it.
Mhm.
I'm sure people that are watching that have gone through it. It just makes you a way better person. That's really all I can say.
especially if you're looking for that lack of purpose, if you're really struggling.
Yes, if you are definitely want to do something with your life and look for a purpose, join the military. Yes, definitely.
So yeah, basically, I want to get deeper into this though. I want to see because obviously we've been seeing a lot of things in the news. We've been seeing how the military has been some sort of change in their rules. Like they're less masculine than what they used to be, and they're kind of indoctrinating the LGBTQ ideology. And I want to see what you think about that. Have they actually forced you or made you do any sort of classes when it comes to the expressing the gay or LGBTQ community?
Yes, they have.
Okay, how so?
They made us sit around in a class for an hour and a half on basically telling us that we can't say certain things, to basically had to sit around and talk about what we can and can't say to certain people, or just in general, because like we don't know who's listening, who's gay, who's straight.
So what happens
And I don't really, if you're gay or straight, that's fine, it doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
But when they're forcing people to not say certain things, that becomes a little bit of a, you know what I mean?
And especially what were
It's like-
what are the consequences though if you were to get caught saying and are these derogatory terms like faggot or queer, like?
Yeah, you can definitely get kicked out, and it's basically a felony if you get kicked out on a discharge. So
But they were just directly telling you guys that though?
yeah, they were directly telling us that we can't say certain things.
Did they actually express the rainbow flag? Were they saying we need to stick up for these guys,
No.
we can't offend these guys?
No, they didn't say that.
So it wasn't direct then.
No,
so it was kind of like a hidden agenda kind of.
Yeah, basically, definitely like a hidden agenda.
Okay.
Definitely.
And what did you actually see any trans people in the army? Did they actually accept any of those people?
Personally, I did not see any, but I think now they are accepting them. So,
Wow.
Yeah.
I
don't really understand how that's going to work.
Especially for the bathrooms, how the
Or basic training, they have you split up, right, with males and females.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't really know how
Yeah.
that is going to work. It's just something to see, but that's one of the reasons why I got out, is because I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah, that's another thing I want to get to. So obviously, Caeleb was in for 4 years, and he just got out. He was in the what was your rank exactly? Let's get into your actual position when you were in the service.
I was at E4 specialist, so.
Okay. And you were reserves, right? Were you?
Yeah, I was guard, National Guard.
Mhm.
So I basically was in the Army working for the state of Kentucky.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And did they ever have to call you off for any sort of natural disasters or any serious emergencies in your time?
Yeah, they did.
So what were some crazy things that happened?
The tornadoes last year, snowstorms, just different types of things. Can't really get into too much of details about some stuff, but yeah, I got caught out quite a bit.
So yeah, another question that I had here. So I really know that the COVID shot was suppressed amongst a lot of people, the working class, I'm sure, government employees and even soldiers. So like, did they actually require you to take the shot?
Yes, they were forcing it on us.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you take yours?
I did.
Which were the first one, or
the Pfizer?
Pfizer.
Yeah, and they basically told us if we didn't take it, we were getting kicked out. Yeah, definitely took the COVID shot. I was forced to. I was scared to get kicked out because I didn't want to get discharged and, basically, like, be a felon, pretty much. There was a few guys that I knew that didn't take it, and they got kicked out. The thing that, like, made me mad about that is after, like, 6 months, nothing was said of it again.
Oh, so it was like they
now
just
it's not.
forgot about
now
it,
it's like not required or anything. So yeah, it's basically like they made us take it or threatened to kick us out, and if you didn't take it. So, and now after about 6 months, it kind of got thrown under the rug.
I know, but like, isn't that kind of weird though? Like, isn't that kind of strange? Why
it's
they
really
just did that?
weird and strange that
they're gonna force you to take something, but then it's not even a big deal afterwards, and it's like you said, under the rug. So like,
the thing about the military is though, you take as soon as you go in, you take a lot of shots. You take like 10, like literally 10 shots to join. But all of those shots they've been there for years and years and years, with people taking them and nothing wrong with them, right?
Mm.
And then this COVID shot just pops up after like 6 months.
Yeah, and like we've even seen
now these young kids, 18 years old, are having heart attacks.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
People are blaming it on the COVID shot, which I strongly think that it is the COVID shot. So,
and you're exactly right. We've seen DeMar Hamlin, the incident with the Bengals and Bills last year. We also saw just recently Joe Aesthetics. He's a 30-year-old workout enthusiast. He really fucking ripped dude. He was in great shape, but he got vaccinated 5 times, like all 5 vaxes, and he shows up dead randomly. And also,
Bronny James.
And exactly, Bronny James, LeBron James' son. LeBron James vouched for the COVID vaccine. This dude is literally, this is crazy. He actually vouched for this, and his son had a cardiac arrest. And it's not a coincidence. This is definitely because of this vaccine.
Strongly agree.
Yeah, and we haven't seen this
a young
before.
18-year-old, healthy, probably has been on a strict diet his whole life.
Oh yeah, he's got the best.
He's probably the most healthiest person, 18-year-old there is.
He's got the most access to resources than anybody. His dad's LeBron James.
His body's he's probably thrown in at least $1 million in his body alone already, and he's 18 years old. Just to be healthy.
He's got. It's
just like, it's weird. It's definitely weird. But now that they're basically, it's thrown under the rug, and like the COVID vaccine, COVID in general, it's all weird to me.
And here's the thing though, so like on YouTube about a year or 2 ago, we couldn't even talk about the vaccine now, but recently YouTube gave us the opportunity and the due diligence to talk about the vaccine. So like I said, we're free and we're privileged to talk about this without being canceled, so just let that sink in. And so and again, back to the whole military thing though. So you said that your experience was obviously good, you learned a lot from it and it benefited you. So another thing that I was kind of questioned about, so like obviously when we go back to younger men, I guess when a lot of younger men are struggling today, especially since COVID. Like, what's the reason you think behind that? Like, you think that I
personally, I think that young men 20 to 25 are scared and alone, because you know what I mean by that.
Yeah.
They just like feel like they're alone. They don't have anybody else, because I wouldn't necessarily say that it's because, I would say like women definitely can, get as much attention as they want, right?
Mm.
Say if a guy finds a girl on Instagram that he really likes and he DMs her, which guys do that. A lot of guys do that.
Oh yeah, all the time. It's natural. Yeah.
And most of the time they don't get a response. If a girl DMs a guy, every single guy that, say if you take me and a girl, we each like take turns just going on Instagram and sending people these messages like, hey, I think you're cute.
Yeah, out of 100 people.
And she does the same thing, right? I might get 5 answers. She will get every single guy to respond to her, 100%, no doubt about it.
Literally.
And I saw a thing online the other day that 70% of men between the ages of like 18 to 26 are single and alone and scared. And women, there's like only like 30% that are single and alone. So
you're exactly right. Like women have so much more opportunities nowadays. Like
Yeah.
like they sit here.
Which isn't a bad thing, but it's taken a strong mental toll on men,
It has.
young men.
Because think about it. Like all these girls are on OnlyFans. They literally have so many more opportunities. Not to speak down on women in general. There are some great women out there that do some great things, but you can't ignore that the degeneracy of these young women that are exposing their bodies out here making money for just literally doing nothing. Like
Exactly.
how is that a disservice to anything at all when all these men are actually working hard? And like as a man, like you don't aspire for much. All you really aspire for is to come home and have a woman literally just acknowledge your presence. Like it's not even that much, but no, all these literally thoughts, like there are actual thoughts out there that are on OnlyFans, and they see that they have all these options. Like they're on Instagram, like you said, like a woman will DM 100 guys and 85 of them will answer back, but a guy will DM
100 of them will answer back. Every single one.
literally, probably every single one of them. You could be butt shit ugly, like you could be probably the ugliest girl in the world, but they're still gonna answer back. You could be a guy, and you might be lucky if you get one. I mean, you could be a top tier man. You could be a top tier male. You could be fucking ripped. You could have 18,000 followers on Instagram. You could DM about 100 girls, and you might be lucky to get 5 of them to answer you back. That's the reality of the world. The top tier men might even not get the girls. Like it's a very far and few selection. So like, that's kind of the dating part of it. But like when it just shows how it's so hard for younger men. Like not even just us in general, but like people out there. Like it's very difficult for
Exactly.
like, and it's not.
Which I feel like it makes men our age, definitely feel like they're alone, but at the same time they're tired, right? Because they see all these people with families and they want to have a wife,
Yeah, like
kids,
the traditional
families.
way. Yeah.
I feel like that men are tired, okay? And I'm not like, what I mean by tired is there's going to be 2 types of tired, right? There's going to be a tired to where your whole entire body is like you feel worn out and tired. Okay, that's one type of tired.
Yeah, physical tired.
Physical tired. And the other type of tired is when your whole body is screaming for peace. And basically what
like
I mean by that,
thing, like
basically what I mean by that is your brain's always running. Okay, so there's really no peace at all. So that's what I'm strong by that, to where there's 2 types of tired. And the men struggle with the most of their body screaming for peace, which is a strong mental. So
yeah, no, you're exactly right, because like those traditional values of getting married and just doing the stereotypical thing, get a job, like that's all deteriorating. We don't see like those opportunities out there anymore. It's extremely hard to land.
I feel like now, with the way life is now, I feel like it's really hard to get that because social media. And
oh yeah, it gives women so many, and not even women, like men too, but like women appeal to that so much more when they can share their bodies. Like they just know, like, why would I settle for some hometown guy when I've got some dude I can fly on a jet with in Russia, like, you know what I mean, like, or some dude in Croatia, or like, you know what I mean, like, I got this guy with a check mark who I can go sleep with.
Exactly.
Like, why would I settle for some guy with a marriage like in 20 years? Like,
and there's some I saw where there is literally 15 guys in a bar, right?
Mm-hmm.
That are all being nice to this girl, telling her she's pretty, she's cute, and that 16th guy walks into the bar with money, and he has some type of following on social media, and he's a complete dick to this girl. She's going to pick that 16th guy over the 15 nice guys any day of the week. That is crazy to me, but that's the way life is now. So
it's everything's materialistic, whether you like it or not. Like, for instance, I could sit here and tweet a million things of just words of just the most intelligent things in the world, and I mean, I might get some likes, I might get some views, but like, it's not going to actually do anything influentially. If I sit here and I post pictures of my Rolex or my supercar or some bitches in the car, like, that's going to get some fucking views, and that's what people like actually want to see. Like, it might not be the right thing, but that's just literally what the world wants to see, and that's what gets views and content. Like, I mean, I don't want to indulge in those kind of things, but that's just the truth.
100% the truth.
All right, so I want to transition back to the original military story here. So, back to present day, I guess. What do you feel like your mental status is after getting out and your day-to-day life? Like, do you feel like you're happy? Like, you genuinely want what you have? Like, well, what's your goals and aspirations now that you're out of the military?
The honest truth is, towards the end of me being in the military, I was not happy at all, and I'm still not happy. I don't really know why. I feel like it's more of like, anxiety and depression's really high right now with men and women. So, but I just feel like it's more of just me talking to myself about myself. If that makes any sense. It's just me. It's just me, And the thing that I read the other day online that your biggest crisis in your life never happened. Okay, if that makes any sense to you, it's more of like you just thinking all these thoughts that are. You're just thinking of shit that's never gonna happen, and that's like your biggest problem in your life. So that really helped me a lot, and just keep pushing myself every day with the whole anxiety thing. It was definitely really rough before I joined the military.
Yeah, what was it like?
And
So like, were you ever...
the thing I said before,
Mhm.
like how my life was kind of shit before I joined, and then I joined and it got better.
Mhm.
That is true, very true. So it's a strong mental game in the military when you first join, because usually it's just somebody who's 18 years old, fresh out of high school, never left home, and I was 19 when I joined. Before that, I was going to the doctors for my anxiety and depression, and they were trying to get me on all these pills and whatnot. I didn't want to take that, and we can get into that later about the whole doctors, like all the pharmacies just throwing pills down your throats because it makes them money. We'll talk about that later. But I did not want to do that. I wanted to do something different. I wanted to try to fight the battle by myself, which is what a lot of people should do. Coming from somebody who's experienced all of that, I just feel like, but now, present day, it's a lot of just me talking to myself about myself, if that makes any sense to you.
Yeah, so I think that's something we all do. We have that voice inside our heads that kind of, and it's a great thing you're saying. So you're basically admitting that you're a free thinker. You have the ability to think for yourself, which many of us don't. Many people are stuck in this matrix or this idea that they don't have to do anything. They rely on everything above them. But yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. You have a free mind. You're sitting here speaking now. So that's what you have to respect about somebody. But that's pretty. It's pretty interesting though. So like the pharmaceutical thing though. Like, did you feel like you didn't benefit from them prescribing you drugs to operate? I guess
Not at all.
What were they like?
Pharmaceuticals, doctors get paid money to prescribe you pills.
Oh yeah, it's business.
So my thing was, I didn't want to go tell my problems to somebody who was getting paid to listen to my problems. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and to prescribe you something.
Because they're there because they're getting paid. 90% of them are there because you're getting paid. There's only a very few select doctors, therapists, teachers that want to actually listen to your problems. I'm not saying they all are bad.
No, but
some do care.
You're right, and
but most of them are getting paid to listen to you.
And the doctors that are actually credible are the ones that actually leave. Like they work for, like Dr. Jordan Peterson. Like he's
work for themselves.
Yeah,
exactly.
they
work
entrepreneurs.
for themselves.
Yeah, they don't work for the system itself.
Exactly, and the system is very, very corrupt.
Because they can't.
I don't care what anybody says. It's very corrupt.
It is. Well, here's the thing about it, right? So if you're a doctor, right, you couldn't be sitting here today having this video. We couldn't be sitting here talking about controversial things because you would lose your job. Like
exactly.
Like when you're in that high level of the matrix, you literally cannot be saying things like that, or because you will lose your job. Like for instance, there was about a few months ago in England, there was like they have the England flag or the flag obviously over the city, but they had a worker go and take the flags down and put the pride flags up in England.
And play video games, right? It never got to me like that because I realized, I think outside the box again.
Mm-hmm.
I talk to myself about myself. You know what I mean? That's a big thing. So, yeah.
And a lot of people don't have that ability. A lot of people actually, even to this day, are stuck in their house, won't even leave their parents' house because they're just afraid. Like they fell into the psychological operation of what COVID was. Like they've stuck to it today. Like whether we go back to wearing masks or not, they're still stuck in their house. So like that really goes back to the point. Like when you can get men, especially men, the masculine